Well, welcome to Ask a Responsive Fundraiser, where we take your questions to a fundraising expert so that ultimately you can grow generosity. Today, we're taking your questions to the CEO and co-founder of Capital Campaign Pro, Amy Eisenstein. With over 25 years of fundraising, Amy has helped nonprofits raise millions through major gifts and capital campaigns. She's a sought-after speaker, author of Major Gift Fundraising for Small Shops, and a leader in the nonprofit world, holding both CFRE and ACFRE certifications. Amy, thanks for taking the time to answer some questions today.
Yep, happy to be here.
Awesome. All right, we're going to jump into the first one, and it's this. We're thinking about starting a capital campaign, but don't know if we're ready. We don't want to take on too much too soon. So how can we figure that out and make sure that we're set up to succeed?
Yeah, it's such a good, important question to begin with. So first of all, I think what every nonprofit needs before they really consider a capital campaign is a big, bold vision.
Mm,
What do they want to accomplish? How will their community look? How will their organization look and function after the campaign? And it should be significantly different than currently. So sometimes that will involve a building or a renovation. Sometimes it's an expansion of programs and services. And those are all good, important reasons. So what's not a good reason is that you have an upcoming anniversary, a milestone anniversary, or you just want to raise more money. So first things first is a big, bold vision. But then to me, some of the red flags or really important things that we look for is the organization operating in the black, or are they operating at a deficit? If you can't make your annual fund work, it's going to be really hard to run a successful campaign. So first we want to make sure that there's a good, successful annual fund. And ideally there's some staffing in place. So a development director, maybe, a development team of sorts. And I would say be bold. If you have a big, bold vision, then of course, there's lots of things to consider. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into. We could talk all day about it, but let's stop there for a second.
yeah. No, I think that's super helpful. Helping people kind of understand just on a high level, what to consider, kind of some of those things to think about before they jump in. So anything more you want to add on that question, or should we move to the next one?
Well, I guess just really briefly, we do have some free readiness assessments on the Capital Campaign Pro website. So if you do want to go through and tick off what you're working on, what you've accomplished, and what you still need to work on, you can go check those out.
That's awesome. All right. Question number 2. Getting our board involved in fundraising has always been a struggle, especially when it comes to connecting with major donors. So, what are some ways that we can get them engaged in a way that feels meaningful and aligned with our goals?
Yeah. So I think this is something that lots of organizations struggle with. So, first, know that you're not alone. Second of all, I think most organizations that run successful capital campaigns do so while working to improve their board. So, don't wait until you have the perfect board or
Yeah.
whatever the perceived perfect board is. You're never going to have that. So, I think that if you make a conscientious, strategic effort to work with your board, first of all, they need to be excited about the project and the campaign. So that to me is the one deal breaker. They have to be excited about whatever the strategic vision is for the organization and be willing to talk about it, be willing to advocate for it, and be willing to contribute themselves. Whether they can connect you with donors or not is really beside the point, because you will recruit a campaign committee that will serve that function. So to me, it's really about getting them excited, getting them to commit personally to advocate for the campaign and to contribute financially. They all need to contribute financially to the campaign. That's what you need from your board.
Yeah, that buy-in's so important. All right, question number 3. With economic uncertainties, we're nervous about setting big fundraising goals for 2025 and beyond. So, how can we figure out what's realistic and build confidence that we can actually hit those numbers?
Yeah. So I think sometimes campaigns are about if you build it, they will come mentality. And
Yeah.
so if you assume you can, then you do. And if you assume you can't, then you won't. So part of it is really believing in yourself. Now, listen, that's not the whole of the plan. You'll need data and other things to back it up. But what I will say is that I've been running campaigns for nearly 30 years through recessions, through presidential elections, through pandemics, through
Yeah.
whatever. And the good news is that in difficult times, donors rise to the occasion. I see it
Mm.
again and again and again. And campaigns span multiple years. So if for some reason there's a 6 month or an 8 month dip in the economy,
Yeah.
and a donor is concerned, you can go back to them in 6 or 8 months because your quiet phase will span multiple years in all likelihood. And so to me, don't stop. That's what I say. Don't worry about what's going on, outside factors. There's always going to be something happening, natural disasters or a recession. But by the time you plan your campaign, things will have changed. And what we really saw is that those organizations that paused for the pandemic are now just starting their campaigns, and those that
Mm.
kept going are
Yeah.
finished. And
Wow.
so I would encourage you to pay attention, but not let it hold you back.
Yeah. That's good encouragement. All right. Question number 4. There tends to be confusion around feasibility studies. Can you explain what they are and why they're important for successful campaigns?
Yes. Thank you for asking that. Feasibility studies are such an important part of the campaign planning process. And I wish they weren't called feasibility studies because so many nonprofit leaders and primarily board members think, well, if we're going to do a campaign anyway, or we need a campaign, so we shouldn't figure out whether it's feasible or not. We should just press ahead. I
Yeah.
wish they were called campaign planning studies or campaign readiness studies. Campaign planning studies probably is the best name because then everybody would do them. And what they really do is prepare you for a campaign. They don't tell you whether a campaign is possible or not. They tell you how to do a campaign
Mm.
and how you can effectively raise the most that you can possibly raise. And a good feasibility study engages donors.
Mm.
And so I encourage organizations to really explore the options that are available now. In the past, really what you would do is hire a consultant to interview your biggest and best donors. But today, the best way to do it is to hire a consultant who teaches you, the organization, to interview your donors. And then with the consultant, you analyze the data and figure out who to interview and ask the right questions. But a great consultant should help you engage and build relationships through the process of a feasibility study. Um, and and that's what we do here at Capital Campaign Pro. And I love seeing the evolution of the relationships between the donors and the nonprofit leaders through this really important planning process.
Yeah. That clarification, I think, is so helpful for people. Amy, thanks for taking the time to share your wisdom and expertise with us today. We're really grateful for it and really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.